Today on Sports Central, we'll be going over our next schedule preview this offseason, and it will be over the Virginia Tech Hokies. And this is a team that went 8-5 in the 2019 season. And yeah, in this video, we're going to be going over why I think the Virginia Tech Hokies will be a dark horse in the ACC going in to 2020. We're going to be going over a few players that this team will be losing, who they're going to be returning, and also going over their schedule for the first time this offseason. Starting off the games that this team has had since November, we start off on November 2nd when they played Notre Dame on the road. That was a tough road game there, and yeah, they kept up really close. They ended up getting a loss 20-21, but yeah, once again, they really were able to keep up with them. They had a really big win over Wake Forest, and considering Wake Forest was not all that bad last season, that was a good win there, 36-17. Then they had two shutouts in a row, which is really good. They had a shutout against Georgia Tech on the road, 45-0, and they also had a shutout against Pittsburgh, 28-0. So, yeah, certainly for Virginia Tech, they started off the season kind of weak. They certainly didn't look like all that great of a team, but yeah, certainly as the season went on, I mean, this team improved a ton. And obviously, I mean, with those Virginia and Kentucky games, it didn't really look that way, but yeah, certainly having those two shutouts and a big win against Wake Forest and nearly beating Notre Dame, yeah, and over November all the way was certainly a very good month for Virginia Tech. Yeah, they did lose Virginia, though, once again, 30-39. They were able to keep it really close in Virginia last season overall. They were just all around the better team against Virginia Tech. So I think it could be the opposite way, though, this season. I think Virginia Tech has got a ton of potential, and we're going to be going over more reasons why in a second. But yeah, certainly they lost their bowl game as well by a touchdown, 30-37. And yeah, I mean, obviously, certainly for Virginia Tech, it was a great season overall, finishing off 8-5 compared to how it looked like at the start of the season. But yeah, between September and October, they were 5-2. And between November and the rest of the season, they were 3-3. Moving on to the returning production for Virginia Tech, we start off with them. Yeah, they're going to return their top quarterback in Hendon Hooker. That's going to be a huge return. He had just over 1,500 yards last season with 13 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So he didn't have a whole lot of yardage, but that's probably because Ryan Willis and Hendon Hooker split time this past season. And yeah, Hooker also had 350 yards of rushing, so he is a bit of a dual threat quarterback as well. They did lose their other quarterback in Ryan Willis. He had just over 900 yards with 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions last season. So certainly for Hendon Hooker, he looks like he's going to be a really good quarterback coming into this next season, considering he had a 13-2 touchdown interception ratio. So yeah, I do expect big things out of Hooker this upcoming season. I think he'll be a great quarterback. They do lose their top running back, Deshaun McClease, which he's probably going to be this team's biggest loss overall. He had just over 900 yards last season with 7 touchdowns. So yeah, once again, Deshaun McClease will be a bit of a tough loss there. They do return their second running back in Keyshawn King. That's going to be a good return. He had just right around 500 yards of offense last season with 2 touchdowns. And their receiving corps is going to be really good heading into next season. I think they could have one of the better ones in the ACC. They returned their top wide receiver in Trey Turner, which he had just right around 800 yards last season. They also returned their second wide receiver in Damon Hazelton, which he had just right around 500 yards with 8 touchdowns. And then they also returned their third wide receiver in Tavion Robinson, which he had over 500 yards with a touchdown. So yeah, certainly this receiving corps has got a ton of potential heading into this 2020 season. And yeah, having Hendon Hooker, a quarterback that certainly has got a lot of room to improve, having all 3 of your main weapons back, certainly will be huge for him. They also returned their entire offensive line and their entire defensive line. That is the first time in about 45 schedule previews that I've done so far this offseason where I've seen a team return both their offensive line and their defensive line. I mean, yeah, this Virginia Tech team is not losing hardly any players at all. They only lose 1 defensive player, and that is in the secondary. They return all their linebackers as well, and I mean, they do lose a tight end, but yeah, their tight end was not all that big of an impact on this team last season. So yeah, certainly for Virginia Tech, they are a dark horse in 2020, no doubt in my mind on that. I think Virginia Tech certainly will compete in that division, in that coastal division, to make a run at the ACC championship game. I think that they could easily beat out Virginia this upcoming season. I think he'll go kind of vice versa because if you remember, of course, Virginia Tech and Virginia were competing for that ACC championship spot at the end of last season. I think Virginia Tech, this is going to be their year for sure. I mean, when you return as many players as you are, typically we see great seasons out of these teams. Typically you'll see big surprise teams out of teams that don't hardly lose anyone. So yeah, will they win the Coastal Division? Right now, I'd say they are my early favorite to win the Coastal Division. And certainly, I mean, the ACC tournament, or the ACC championship game is kind of just an invitational to play Clemson. But yeah, certainly for Virginia Tech, their schedule is not all that bad at all. So that really favors them a ton. You start off the season against Liberty, and you also got Penn State. So yeah, certainly having Penn State as one of your non-conference games will be a bit tough. The good thing is they do have them at home. So, I mean, watch out. There could be a major upset there. against Penn State. Virginia Tech can get the win there, which I definitely think it's possible there, no doubt on that. But Liberty's not going to be easy, but they got them at home, so yeah, that could be an easy win. You got Middle Tennessee on the road, North Alabama at home, and you also got Georgia Tech then to start off October at home. You got North Carolina on the road, Boston College at home. After a bye week, you got Louisville and Pitt on the road in consecutive weeks. Then you got Miami, Duke, and Virginia to finish off the season. So yeah, for Virginia Tech, this is not all that bad of a schedule compared to how some teams have been. And here's what you're going to get. I'm going to give you 4 guaranteed wins, and those are going to be Liberty, Middle Tennessee, North Alabama, and Georgia Tech. Once again, we don't go over every game in our schedule previews. We will be going over every game in our official predictions, which will be coming out this summer. But yeah, your record estimation, this is going to be a good season for Virginia Tech. I'm going to give them a 9-3 to 11-1 record estimation, and that may be higher than you think that I probably was going to go. But yeah, I certainly think Virginia Tech is going to be a team that's going to be way up there in the chase for that Coastal Division. I think they've got a ton of potential. I think they could be kind of like the Minnesota or the Baylor of this season. If you remember, I mean, our 2 big surprise teams last season had to have been Baylor and Minnesota. And yeah, I think Virginia Tech could easily be that going into next season. I mean, they don't have to play Clemson in the regular season, so you already take away a really, really tough game there. And of course, I mean, they do have a couple of tough road games. I mean, you could consider Louisville, that's going to be a tough one. North Carolina will probably be tough as well. But yeah, certainly for Virginia Tech, I see them going 9-3 to 11-1. I don't see them getting 4 losses on the schedule, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, Penn State game will be tough, but I think they've got a good chance in that one. Louisville's going to be tough. That could be a bit of a loss, and that could be a loss there. North Carolina is going to be tough as well. So yeah, there will be a couple of losses, I think, for Virginia Tech. I don't expect them to go undefeated, but I do expect Virginia Tech to make a really good bowl game next season. I think they're going to be right up there to make the ACC championship next season. And yeah, I think Virginia Tech, once again, big dark horse in the ACC. No one's really talking about them right now, but when you return as many players as you are going into 2020, yeah, this team's gonna have some firepower heading into 2020. Nonetheless, let me know your thoughts on Virginia Tech in the comments below. Let me know whether you think differently, whether you think they'll be better or worse. Thank you all for watching once again. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to slap a like on it and be sure to subscribe as well. I'd really appreciate that. It really helps out the channel. Thank you all for watching once again. Stay tuned, and I will see you all later.